Hey guys, Dan Young here with Dan's Millionaire Code. And every single week I bring you a mega super Jedi entrepreneur who's a expert in their field. And there's no cost for this virtual mentoring that you get weekly, but there is a cost. And there's a few things you need to do. One, you need to execute, okay? Take notes, execute. Two, share it with friends and loved ones, though that way, again, it's free, so it's just free knowledge. But execute, share, and then three, take 10% of your net gains from the knowledge that you've executed here and give it to a good charity. That's all I ask you to do. That's how you pay. Okay, today's guest is a good friend of mine, super awesome dude. In his field, he's like just super Jedi. John Maxim, he flips residential homes. His videos are crazy. I mean, he takes the crappiest things and he turns them into gold, and he makes lots of money on it, and he does lots of them. How many does he do? He's done over $200 million in flips, which is a lot of flips. He's owner and founder of Tree Fort Realty. He has Rhino Property management to manage these properties and things. Savvy house design as well. And he has a pretty juicy portfolio of homes that he cash flows and he flips as well. He's working on some commercial property stuff, hard money stuff, kind of like built from the same cloth. He's got multiple streams of income, which, as you guys know, I've always said is really the secret, not just all your eggs in one bag. So, John Max, man, thanks for coming on.
Oh, dude, thank you. Thanks for letting me come on.
So, just give us a little background, man. Were you born rich? Were you born a flipper? Were you a family of flippers? Or, where do you come from, and how'd you get to where you are, dude?
Yeah, no, I come from a good family, but, when I actually started into real estate, my mom and dad sat me down and said, we support you, we love you, but this is not a decision that we think is a good decision. Because my parents are very much college, 9 to 5, pension, 401k, that kind of thing. And so they were great. But we were very middle class, and the first year, my first year in real estate as an assistant, I think I made more than my dad makes in a year.
Whoa! And
then I quit as an assistant and tried to go out on my own, and I barely made any money, because I thought I was pretty cool, and I wasn't. So yeah, I come, I don't know that I was poor or in the ghetto or anything, but Yeah, and then I just kind of accidentally got into real estate, to be honest. I know a lot of, and that's why I don't make a good guru or a mentor, I don't think, because a lot of guys, they lay at night dreaming about it, but I was working at a kiosk in the mall, and some lady came through, and I was selling surveys, and she said, "You should come work for me, you're awesome." And I said, "Okay." And I went and worked for her. And then even then I was doing real estate for 2 or 3 years and just kind of pretending. I sold plasma for a living pretty much, and got a little bachelor pad where I was renting it out to people. And, we had 10 guys living in a bachelor pad kind of thing. And it didn't really switch for me. I got married and then got divorced. And during my divorce, I got behind on my mortgage quite a bit. And I had this bachelor pad, and I get divorced, and I'm like, oh, the bachelor pad thing worked great. Let's do that again. So after she left, I started renting my house out to a bunch of guys, but I wasn't doing very well financially. The divorce hit me pretty good, and I got really behind on my mortgage. And in my real estate background, what I had started doing was helping people with loan modifications. So I kind of learned all the ins and outs of mortgages and how far you can really push mortgage lenders and all this kind of stuff. And I was able, I got really good at postponing foreclosures, and I was able to not pay my mortgage for like 3 or 4 years.
Whoa.
I got really far behind. Eventually the bank's like, listen, we're no more tricks, no more anything. We're foreclosing on Monday. And I was convinced that, they were going to postpone this foreclosure. So I'm sitting there with all my roommates, and we're watching the movie Hot Rod. And in the movie Hot Rod, he jumps over a whole bunch of buses to raise money for cancer for his dad, right? And we're out on the front porch, and I'm like, hey, guys, by the way, we're getting foreclosed on Monday. I need to come up with 20 grand. I don't have it. There's nothing I can do. I can't postpone it, whatever. And we're all kind of sitting there like, why didn't anybody do stuff like that in real life, like jump over buses? Well, I didn't have any buses, and I'm not good enough on a motorcycle to try something like that. But I was like, you know what? I've got this car I bet if I get on the internet and I say, I'm going to light this car on fire if you give me $20 to save my house from foreclosure, that enough people would give me $20 to save my house.
No way.
True story. In fact, I have to tell you this story because if anyone Googles my name, this is the thing that's going to come up, and they're going to be like, who's this hack that lit his car on fire? So this was, before GoFundMe was really a thing, and I did it all on Twitter and Facebook and my blog. I had a blog. That's how long ago it was, because blogs were super cool back then. And I just got on there and I wrote this story. I'm like, I'm in foreclosure. I made mistakes, but in America, if you do stupid stuff, I think people will give you money. So that's what I'm asking. I called them loanations. I said, I'll pay you guys back 6% interest. I just need 20 grand in 3 days. And my roommates got on board, and we got on a couple radio shows, and it kind of went viral, and we raised $20,000.
No freaking way,
days.
dude.
Yeah.
You lit the car?
Yeah. So that's, yes, I did. But back to the turning point, back to my origin story, real quick. So I get the 20 grand, I get a check, and I go to the courthouse where they're auctioning off my house at like 9:30. I've been up all night for like 3 days, just Twittering and Facebooking and just getting all the money I could through PayPal. I show up with this check and give it to the attorney. He's like, oh yeah, this reinstates your loan. Good job. And then I see all these guys, and they're in T-shirts and flip-flops. I mean,
That's your work attire,
yeah,
flip-flops,
for
right?
sure. And and here they are bidding on houses. They were going to try and buy my house, and then I just stood there and watched them buy houses, and I'm like, these are my people. I need to figure out how to do this. And so I that's really where things turned for me, and I kind of got into flipping, and it's been.
How long ago was that?
That was 2009.
Okay, it's been a while.
Yeah, I mean, in truth, you'll sometimes hear me say I flipped houses since 2004, but I flipped like 3, and I didn't make hardly any money those first few. Like, really didn't know what I was doing, and so. But I did have to light my car on fire, which is a lot trickier than you think. I tried to get a fire department to let me do it, as like a testing, training thing, but they wouldn't do it, especially because it was on the news, and they didn't want any bad publicity or anything. It was a little Ford Taurus. I can send you a picture or video.
I want to watch this.
So I went out to the West Desert and I lit the car on fire, and I didn't know that there was a scout troop on the other side of the mountain, and so they called the police.
Oh no!
And I got arrested. I spent the weekend in jail. So it ended up costing me $20,000 plus the $2,400 in probation and fines. No. But the funny thing is, it's actually not illegal to burn a car, but they got me for illegal dumping, which wouldn't have happened had they not arrested me. But it's just kind of how it goes. But the silver lining to that story is the arresting officer thought it was so cool that I followed through, because I'm telling him the story as he's driving me to Tooele County Jail. Thought it was so cool that I did it. We kind of hit it off, and then I ended up, as a real estate agent, representing him to buy a house. And
no way.
And,
the guy who arrested you.
Yeah, the guy who arrested me. He was like, it's good that people do what they say they're going to do. Anyway, and then I started flipping houses, and I paid everyone their loans, their loanations, and it was like 486 people. I had a spreadsheet that kept track of everything, and I had a bunch of people that made $1 donations and $5 and $20, and we had I think my biggest one was like $1,800. That was my grandmother. So
that's crazy. That is like that.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It was wild.
Now you're going to see all these videos of people burning their cars on TV getting arrested.
If you're in foreclosure, a viable solution is to do something stupid on the internet. Just don't kill yourself or get hurt or anything.
Disclaimer: this is for entertainment purposes only.
Don't try this at home.
That's amazing, man. So I've been watching your Instagram a lot, and at first I'm like, this guy is kind of crazy, and it's funny because you document. I think the other day I was watching, and there was like a dead cat in the basement, and one of your guys was working for you, one of your dudes, and he was barfing because he found the dead cat.
Yeah. Even if you bring it up to him now, he still dreams about it. He's got a weak stomach.
What's the most horrible thing that you've ever found in a home?
I have found two dead bodies.
Dead people.
Dead people. One was a tenant. She was late 60s, early 70s, and I got a complaint about a smell. I mean, her rent was being paid automatically, so nobody really knew what was going on, and so no one had seen or heard from her, and she just passed away in her lazy boy, and that one was really gross. The other one was kind of crazy. I bought a house that was kind of being used. It was a meth house, and when I bought it, the tenant that was there was renting out rooms by the night to other meth addicts. And we go through the eviction process, which took about 2 weeks, because he contested it and tried to fight it. It was a weird period of time in March. You know how in Utah sometimes we'll just get like 8 inches of snow and then it's like 72 degrees. Well, there was a tent in the backyard, and this guy shot heroin behind the garage. And so anyway, we go to the eviction. The constable's there kicking all these guys out. And we go to the back, and I'm like, hey, dude, you got to go. And, I just see him, like, his feet are coming out of this tent. Actually, this was one of my earliest Instagram videos, because I didn't know that he was dead. Anyway, so I have a clip of me like, hey, guy, hey, dude.
Dude, he's dead.
Yeah, I never ended up posting the follow-up to that, but because it gets a little sticky, actually, when someone dies on your property. But what had happened is he shot up heroin, and then that night it snowed like 8 inches. And so what really stinks if you're flipping houses and you find a dead body, even with the old lady, they shut your project down for 2 to 5 months just to do the investigation. Like, I couldn't do any work. I couldn't send people over there. They tape it off. They do the whole thing. But they determined that this guy just died of exposure. He didn't overdose on drugs. He was passed out asleep on drugs and then froze to death.
That's horrible.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So we find a lot of like dead animals and raccoon feces, and
we both had raccoons yesterday in our properties on video, right? So.
Yeah. Today, actually, I saw one this morning before I came here.
I had one too.
He was coming right at me too. But yeah, we I see a lot of crazy things. One of the things that I don't think people realize is mice and rats in their walls. They use poison, and the poison dehydrates the mice and rats. So we'll tear out walls, and we'll have, I'm not kidding, hundreds of dead little carcasses fall out of your drywall. And people don't know it because the poison's designed to dehydrate them so much so there's not a whole lot of rotting. They mummify the bodies. In there. So you have little mummies. Almost everybody. I mean, even houses that are like 7 years old. I guarantee you've got mummified mice in your walls.
Dude, it's crazy, man.
I'm sorry that I ruined your house for you. But
I'm going to shift gears here because a lot of the people watching here want to get into making a good living, either a side hustle or a full-time thing. What's some of your advice, man, if people want to get into house flipping wherever they live everyone's all over different parts of the world here. For the U.S., let's just say.
Sure.
What's some big tips you would give people to get started, and maybe some things to avoid, some pitfalls? Let me take notes on this one.
Yeah, no, it's, you know what you're doing. Yeah, one of the things I see a lot is, there's a lot of education and mentoring and all kinds of stuff, and real estate really comes across as a get-rich-quick scheme, and it can be that, but a lot of times it can't be that unless you have money, because you've seen the things like do it with other people's money and all this kind of stuff, and I almost run my entire business on other people's money. I fully leverage every dollar I can. And even my own money, I pay myself the same amount of money I pay my hard money lenders, so that I'm always looking at every deal the same way. If my money is going to cost me 10 or 12%, that every dollar I put into that costs me 10 or 12%. Just happens to be that some of it is 10 or 12% profit to me. But then I'm not running anything different. But starting out, I didn't do it. I didn't do a very good job because I never did the mentor thing. Didn't do courses, mentors. I'm too stubborn. I was too untrusting, And so I made a ton of pitfalls. But how that served me, I always tell people, like, you kind of need to get comfortable with losing. Even you, when you asked me the question, how do we avoid pitfalls? You can't do this without losing. You're not going to do it without losing some money. And the thing is, I'm better at this than most people. I still lose money on 1 out of 10 deals. And maybe if I got really, really granular in my systems, I could cut that to like 1 in 20. But I'm making money out of 9 out of 10 deals, and so
it's a good win ratio.
Becoming like just knowing that, hey, I could lose. And the truth of the matter is, like, your lenders know that you're going to lose on some deals. They're in this with you. It's funny. I was teaching a course about loss to the local real estate investment group, and I was actually, for a minute there, I started to question myself, like, am I the only real estate investor that lost a significant amount of money? So I started texting a bunch of my peers, and I do have mentors now, thank goodness. It's helped a lot. Peers and some mentors and my hard money lenders. And 2 of them, it was great. One hard money lender sent me his spreadsheet that shows all the losses he takes every year for like the last 7 years, just loss. I mean, of course, there's wins, and that's on a different column. He didn't show me. He was like, oh yeah, I lose money. Yeah. And the other guy, who was a hard money lender, he's like, oh yeah, whenever I'm interviewing somebody who's like, oh yeah, we flipped some houses and we want to borrow money, I always ask them, tell me about your worst loss. And when they're like, oh, I've never lost money, I don't lend them money because I know they're lying. It's funny, funny thing. So, I mean, I didn't lose money. I mean, my very first flip, I only made $3,000. We were supposed to make 40. So it feels like a loss. I lost potential profit, but I broke even. I made money. And I made a ton of mistakes that taught me, right? Taught me how to do.
What's the biggest
things
mistake,
right.
dude? The biggest, like, oh, jeez.
The worst thing about my biggest mistake in real estate investing is I've done it twice, because you're supposed to learn.
Twice?
You're supposed to learn from your mistakes, and I've lost insane amounts of money in a year because of the same mistake, and it's overextending myself. I'm really good at overextending myself. Unfortunately, it's not really a talent; it's more of a vice. But it gets, like, for me, I got to a point where you get this reputation, and you've got these lenders, and the lenders are like, "Hey, even if he loses money, I'm going to get paid, so I'll lend to him, whatever he says." And then your reputation starts getting you more deal flow than you ever thought was possible. Because, in the beginning, you're like, how do I get deals? How do I get deals? That's your biggest pain point. And then once you start to figure that out, it's like, how do I get enough money to do these deals? Once you start to figure those things out, it's just like, yeah, I'll buy that one and that and that and that and that. Because you're going to get the money and the deal. But I didn't have a infrastructure built to take it on. I just kept like, well, sure, I can do this one too. I can do this one too. I can do this one too. And it got me in trouble. And I did it once. And, the circumstances were a little different. The second time I did it, I got into some more development stuff, which was out of my scope. And by getting into like a big development, I didn't really realize how much attention that needed. So then all the houses I was flipping kind of fell by the wayside.
Oh, no.
So, I mean, learn from your mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
Which, hey, not everybody
Don't overextend.
does. Yeah.
Get comfortable with losing and make sure you learn from your mistakes.
Yes,
That's a good one.
please learn from your mistakes. Otherwise, you look like a fool. It's embarrassing because you see the quotes like, "Fool me once, fool me twice." Well, I fooled myself twice, and I might do it again. I don't know. Maybe I'm too comfortable with losing. So.
I love your transparency. I think everyone here should get out there and watch your story as it unfolds in real time on your Instagram, right? Is that the best place for people to find you? Your Insta, I watch it like crazy.
Yeah, Instagram. My Instagram's on the John, and I like
On the John.
On the John. Yeah. Yeah, I always wanted to be a columnist because I wanted to be a writer as a kid, and I wanted a column called On the John, and that never really worked out. And I got into real estate, so I just kind of stuck with that. But
so, it's crazy is watching you go through this, get your hands dirty, shine the flashlights, cut your head on the window on your rehab. It teaches people a lot of how to do diligence and how to look at things. And the one thing that's kind of cool about your page is I noticed you posted, most entrepreneurs post their wins, but not, and here's reality.
Yeah.
Right? So reality can suck and also be good. But that's what I like about that, because it's not artificially packaged to make people think that, it's just all about, Lambos and making 100% returns or something on everything.
Right. Yeah, it's really not. And the benefit is I've kind of learned that I don't think I'm the mentoring type. It's one thing to be able to do something good, and it's another thing to teach it. I mentor plenty of people just in with talking with people that do business, but I get people all the time that reach out and say, hey man, I want to come, I'll pay you to teach me. And I haven't built a curriculum to be comfortable doing that. And so I like my social media and my Instagram to be very transparent, because I do feel like there's a lot of, social media is just a lot of fake stuff. Mm-hmm. Really, you've come a different route, but you've experienced loss, you've made bad decisions, right?
Big ones, right? Yeah.
Big ones.
Huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, painful stuff.
Yeah.
We're kind of the same cloth, because I don't have courses and things like that. I just show people what I'm doing and try to educate them so they can do their own research and then make those decisions. But the cool thing is having friends like you come on that had nothing, working in the mall, doing surveys, and build a massively awesome real estate business.
Yeah.
So
well, cool. And I appreciate, just making time to talk to me, just every time you fill me with all kinds of knowledge, and that's the thing I try to do as well. I'm happy I let people come do drive arounds with me and
Whoa.
Ask me questions and things like that. I just, because I want to help people along, but I'm not prepared to charge you $20,000 to, see you fail and blame me for it or whatever, which happens a lot out there. One of the things I like, there's that song, it's not even a song. Remember the Class of 99, quote thing? I don't know. You remember that? One of the things he says in there is, be careful whose advice you buy. But advice is free, and there's lots of free advice out there, and I like to share it. I love that you do it. You do have the 3 qualifications, which is great. But
your stuff's great though, because it shows pitfalls and it shows victories, and people can just watch that and be like, oh, there's a landmine. Let's not step on that one.
Yeah.
So I love it's like a reality show, man.
Well, good. Well, thank you. I do try to be as entertaining as I am educational, maybe a little more the other way.
Yeah. Any last thoughts for people who want to get into house flipping? Little nuggets? Any nuggets, nuggets?
I don't know. This has helped me a lot, and it's just try not to take life so seriously. I hear all the time in real estate stuff about analysis paralysis, right? And people in flipping do that a ton. They're just like, the deal has to be perfect. They have to hit this exact percentage. And I know you're a numbers guy and you appreciate that very much. But if you're not doing it and you want to do it, you just got to go do it. And if you fall on your face, you get up and you go do it again. And I think that a lot of times we just take ourselves and everything a little too seriously when there's just so much great. The journey, failing in the journey and having fun with it is probably my favorite part. A lot of people flip as many houses as I do, and they're like, man, flipping houses sucks. I'm going to go be a hard money lender or do apartments or do commercial or whatever. I actually like it because I've learned to enjoy the journey. I was at a property this morning and a raccoon's doing parkour between the fence and the house. I'm like, in downtown Salt Lake City, that's amazing, holy cow, that's, so anyway, just don't take yourself so seriously and just try to enjoy the journey, and I think honestly that will help you get into real estate flipping or whatever it is you want to do,
That's incredible advice, man. On the John on Instagram.
On the John.
Go follow
easy
him.
To remember.
Right now, comment, make fun of his videos, compliment him, like him.
I actually love hecklers, so
be a hater.
That's a good time.
Be someone who appreciates. It's okay.
One of my favorite ways to get followers is actually responding to haters. If you do it the right way, it's gold.
That's the next book, man.
Yeah, I know. That is. Yeah.
Dude, John, thanks for coming on. Thanks for sharing all the fire. Guys, go follow him right now. I sure appreciate you coming on.
Oh, man. This has been awesome. Thanks. Just the tour of your place is,
we're just hanging
the best
out.
part, It's cool.
So, guys and girls, this has been our Dan's Millionaire podcast, Millionaire Code podcast for the week. Go out and execute, share it with your friends, take 10% of your gains, give it to charity, and we'll see you guys next week.